Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn webinar. I'm just going to wait for a few people to join and then we will get started. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Emily and I'm a marketing manager here at Enterprise Nation. For those of you joining a Lunch and Learn for the first time, Enterprise Nation is a vibrant community of small businesses and business advisors that exist to shortcut your route to trusted business support. Please feel free to share a little bit about yourself, your business, and where you're tuning in from in the chat. Today, I am very pleased to introduce Anna, the Managing Director and founder of Quibble. Anna will be sharing the process that every business should follow to create a comprehensive content strategy that will support growth by increasing organic traffic, keyword rankings, and help you convert even more customers. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please post them in the chat or the Q&A function, and we will do our best to answer them at the end of today's session. Today's webinar is being recorded and it will be sent to you in a follow-up email later today alongside further resources. So without further ado, I will now hand over to Anna for her presentation.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to get cracking straight away. So we obviously want to look at, how to make your content marketing campaigns a success. Content marketing has a whole host of benefits, from increasing your rankings, your organic traffic, so your SEO, and then obviously more leads, getting more customers. So we're going to learn today about how to develop that content marketing strategy from scratch. So understanding what your customers want, that's got to be one of the first things that we look at. And also then ways, how can we, repurpose the content so that we're not having to put too much effort and then not get the return back. We want to make sure we're getting the best return as possible. So content marketing in itself includes the creation, the publication, and the distribution of content. So they're the things that we're going to be covering today. So why am I talking about this? So we've worked with a whole host of different companies, small businesses, startups, all the way through to big and large organizations in various different industries as well. And further to this, we've also been featured in a number of publications. We recently even got an article on the Huffington Post, but here's just some of the publications that we've had, not just our work, but our clients' work published as well. So first off, when you're doing any kind of content marketing or any kind of marketing in general, you need to set your goals and also your expectations. What are you trying to get out of this? So a few things to consider to begin with. Do you want to increase your keyword rankings? Yes, is going to be the initial answer, but also what do you actually want to rank for in the first place? So if you are, so I've just recently come back from holiday. If you're a holiday company, do you want to rank for certain locations, for example? Is it that it's a certain type of holiday? Maybe it's hotels, maybe it's apartments. Consider the different types of keywords that you want to be found for in things like Google, Bing, and the like. Do you want to see an increase in organic traffic? Again, yeah. Organic traffic is the best type of traffic that you want to get, really. That's people finding you naturally on these search engines. But what is actually going to be the right amount of increase for you? To consider how, if you saw, you get 1,000 hits per month, what does that equate to in leads? What does that equate to in customers? So how much organic traffic increase is going to actually benefit you? Do you know that information? If not, go back to the drawing board. Let's get the analytics and everything else set up. Let's start monitoring and analyzing the traffic that we're getting initially. So consider, what does success look like for you? Do you want more social followers? Is this part of the campaign that you want to be working on as well? Do you want more customers? Yeah, we do. But also, how much is a customer worth? Is a customer, do they come, they purchase from you? Is that a one-time purchase, or is it something that they're maybe on a retainer for? Or do they have repeat purchases? Do they have people that could also, they might want to recommend your services too? So think about the lifetime value of a customer and what that looks like. So how many of those do you want as well? And how much time can you actually spend on content marketing? You know your business better than anybody else. So you need to be running your business. You need to be building those leads and the contacts that you want. You've got to be doing all the accounts. You've got to do the business development. You've got to get your brand out there. You are your brand. So you've also got to be realistic about how much time you personally can spend on this. You may also have a team that can support you, so consider how much of their time is available to help with content marketing. So get everybody involved. And could you even outsource, even if it's somebody that you know, someone in your family, maybe you wanted to work with an agency, think about, what can you outsource? And it might be actually your accounts or something else. It doesn't have to be the marketing side, if you want to hold on to that element. So once you've got your goals sorted, you've got that sorted, you know what your goals are, what's next? We've got to create the content people are searching for, the content that your customers are searching for. And it sounds simple, but it does require some research. So initially, we want to do some keyword research. And it's important not to get bogged down with this. So let's break it down. So first of all, write down a list of questions that you come across every day from people that are coming to you, that are purchasing from you or asking questions about purchasing from you. What are the common questions that people ask? It's a quick win. It's something that you can then include in, not just articles in social posts, but you can also include it in FAQs on your website. And if you add the FAQ schema markup, you can then as well enhance your SEO with that. So make sure they're really detailed. You can include information in those answers that can even then link to a blog post. So you're adding that extra information on there. Create a list of what we call seed keywords. Now, seed keywords, I'm going to explain what this is a little bit more. So these are essentially short tail keywords, so just short words that will be on your header menu. So here's one of our clients, and we've got here. So you can see they've got home, then prom 2024, and then dresses and the like. Each of these has a drop down, and each of these then has another category. For example, we've got prom dresses, evening wear, pageant dresses, bridesmaid dresses, for example. These are what we would call seed keywords. So depending on what your products and services are, these are what should be listed, or they might be the top titles of each of the pages that you have. If you haven't got this breakdown of pages for each product and service, we'd recommend doing that as well. So from these seed keywords, you want to then start thinking, okay, well, how can we extend on this? Because those short tail, so the really small keywords like prom dresses, they're what we call short tail. They're going to be very limited, and they're also going to be highly competitive. So we want to try and expand on that as well. So think about related searches, search suggestions, and phrase match, or even questions based on those seed keywords. And there's different ways that we can look for, ways to actually get this information and not just think of it off the top of our heads. Google, for example, is great for helping find this. So to get these additional keywords, here you can see I'll put prom dresses UK, and then from that I'll scroll to the bottom of that particular page, and then it's come up with some different search suggestions. And these are search suggestions that other people have put in, people that they've been looking for prom dresses, and then they've looked for something additional based on that keyword. Then we can think, okay, well, what content can we start creating based around these keywords? There's also a tool called Also Asked. And if you sign up to Also Asked, you can get 3 free searches a day. And then you can download this image like I've got here. I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit more. So again, going along the prom dresses side of things. So you put in a short tail or seed keyword in the search bar, and then it will give you various other searches related to that. And they do tend to be question-based. So again, great for when you're putting anything out on social, blogs, and again, for that FAQ content. And FAQ content, so a lot of people you'll see on the websites will have a whole page dedicated to FAQs, which is fine if they're general FAQs. But ideally, you want to have that content and those, really specific FAQs on each service, solutions, or product page that you have. Be specific. And again, if you're adding the FAQ schema markup on the website, that's going to give you additional benefits as well. So all of this, you're thinking, okay, well, what content can I be creating around this? I'll say, for anything, if you can create that social post, you also want to have a blog that you can link through to as well. So you're providing that additional information. All of it should always be linked. We'll go through the plan for creating that shortly. There's also another tool here. So this is SEMrush. It might be one that you've come across before. You can create a free account. Obviously, it will then be limited. But it does still give you some additional information that you can then use to put into your content plan and your content strategy later on. So as you can see here, you've got your keyword ideas just towards the bottom here. So in the first one, we've got the keyword volumes, I think it says, or variations, sorry. Then we've got questions, and then we've also got some related keywords. So if you click into each of these, it will give you a limited number of each of those. But again, we can start pulling off that information so we can filter that into our content plan later on. So from that, we've got those related searches, we've got some search suggestions, phrase match, we've got some questions, which is awesome. But then as well as all of that, it's really useful to consider, okay, well, what is the search volume? Because you don't want to pick a term to necessarily be found for if you've only got 1 or 2 people actually clicking and looking at that term every single month. Also the difficulty. So remember I mentioned, short tail keywords, so prom dresses, 1 or 2 words, they're short tail. They're going to be highly competitive. The longer ones, the question and the query based, are going to be much easier to rank for. So that's where we're getting the increase in keyword rankings in the organic search. But also consider the intent. Now, when we talk about intent, we're talking about, is that person looking for information? Are they looking to compare your products against someone else? Maybe the materials that are being used, or maybe the process involved. It may also be that actually from that particular term, no, they're ready to make a purchase. Okay, so consider the intent, and you can do that using SEMrush. So when you go into that bit of information, so whether it was the variations or the question based, it will give you a list of information here. So you can see the keyword in that first column there. Then you can see intent. So T means transaction or transactional. I is informational. You also have commercial, and then there's another one as well that is more related to the informational side of things. Navigational, that's the one. So there's navigational. So people that are maybe, they're starting to warm up to the idea of making a purchase, but they're not quite there yet. They're on that information gathering stage. Each one of these is important as the other. Don't just consider, okay, well, I'm going to create content based around the transactional and the commercial keywords, because there's also that step beyond, that initial step where people are finding the right information. You want to be found for that, to be seen as the industry leader, the one to go for all of the information that they want and need. Then they're more likely to come back to you. Rarely do people come to your website and think, I'm going to make a purchase straight away. You've got to warm them up. They need to be able to see you on social media. They need to be seeing that you're very active on your website, maybe updating your blog content, that you've got an email newsletter, for example. And they will come back to you numerous times, and then they're likely to engage with you. It takes around 7 times that somebody will see you and your business or brand before they're likely to engage or make a purchase. So you've got to think, all of these different elements must come together, and obviously you've got to be singing from the same hymn sheet as well. So following on from the intent, you've got the volume of searches per month. Again, don't necessarily be put off by a low volume keyword, because it might be that it's super specific, and it might be that, it is transactional, and it might be commercial. And just, if one customer to you is worth 30 grand, then that doesn't matter. If you're getting the traffic that really wants to know about your products, they're more likely to make that purchase. And the customer value is obviously going to be a lot higher. You obviously have the trend next, but then you've also got the keyword density or difficulty, sorry. Now, what you're looking for initially, and ones that I would recommend focusing on, are the ones that are green, or you've got a dark green here as well. So you've got the lower numbers. Now, they are the easiest keywords to rank for. Now, bear in mind, your competitors are also going to be considering what keywords are going to be easy for them to rank for. So you are competing still, but they're going to be a lot easier for you in the long run. Bear in mind as well, if you start ranking for some of these keywords, it does have an uplift, and it does have a benefit for all keywords across your website. So next, what do we want to consider? We've considered the intent. We've started thinking, okay, well, let's create a priority list of the types of content and the keywords that we want to be pushing initially. Then I would recommend considering what we call topic clusters. Now, a topic cluster is basically, creating a lot of content based around one particular thing. So you're covering all bases. So if it's prom dresses, you're creating, it might be red prom dresses. We're looking at the different satin prom dresses, silk, velvet, we're covering all of the bases around that topic and being very, very specific. And it's great for obviously covering then all of the potential questions and considerations that other people might be looking for. And I say, look at competitors. So they're going to be doing the same thing as you. They're going to be considering what keywords they need to target, what types of content they want to create as well. So have a look what they're already ranking for, take some ideas from them. Obviously, don't copy, but take some inspiration from them. And obviously you can do a Google search, but there's also another tool, another website that you can look into called Answer the Public. Again, with this, you can create a free account so you can get some initial data from this. And each of these kind of clusters of information will give you the ability to then click, have a look at the search results for that particular term. So you can think, okay, well, why are they ranking really highly for that term? What are they doing well? Is it because they've got a really comprehensive article that's actually linked to in various different places across the website? Have they got social influence as well? What are the considerations, can we take from this that we can then obviously enhance our content with as well? And then look for trends. We've got a list of all of these seed keywords. We've got some other keywords that we know are going to be easy to target. So let's have a look at Google Trends. So in the top, all I've put on Google Trends is prom dresses. And based on this, related topics, we've got neck. So people might want to have high neck. They might want to have a low neck. Satin is another. So the type of weave, we could start talking about the different types of materials, how to care for those materials. Do we wash them? Do we not? Is there certain types of heats and different products that are going to impact their kind of longevity? So think about all of that. That can be used for your topic clusters, and it can be used for, again, just enhancing some of that keyword research that you're doing. So next, what is next? We've got all of this information. So as I say, we then look at the competitors. We start creating a list of the content that they're competing or they're performing well for. So we can think, okay, well, what are they doing well? How can we take inspiration from this? And it may be pages, it might not be blogs, it might be pages, it might be their product content as well that's doing really well. So consider that. It may also be case studies. So again, have a look at everything that they're ranking for that you want to rank for. Then we can actually start putting together a bit of a plan. We're going to start putting all of this together. So we've got all of this information. So yeah, we need to consider what content are we going to create. And one thing that I always say to people is that nothing can work in isolation. And this includes creating content and sharing on social media just yourself. You need to get everybody on board. So if you've got a team, get them involved, get them sharing, get them liking it, adding comments, get them involved in creating content on the website, maybe doing some videos as well. And then we can put together this plan. So this is an initial plan. It's a very basic plan. I can send this to anybody as well if they want to have this, and then they can obviously populate it after, once they've got some of the content ideas. But yeah, pop me an email. I've got the details that you can send to me later on. But yeah, we want to include a variety of elements in this, and I'm going to zoom into a certain section so you can see a little bit clearer. But we're going to be considering, okay, what events or themes are going to be happening for each month. You can break this down weekly as well. So obviously for January, we've got New Year, there might be some new budgets. For us, we've got a company culture day that we have in February again, so this adds that kind of personalization to the content that we're going to be publishing, and then there's business anniversaries and other things that you can include. But then, okay, well, that's given us some ideas first off to begin with before we've looked at anything else. Then we can start looking at, okay, well, do we want to create some higher tier content? Now, we'd class high tier content as anything like industry research and surveys. It might be also infographics, just because, you have to go out there and get a lot of information, analyze it so that you can put it into a different type of format that includes, not just the written word, but design as well. Then we've got some other content that we want to create, some short form, so blogs. They might be picture heavy, they might be lists, there might be some to-dos, there might be question-based, query-based, maybe some comparisons in there as well based on the keyword research. It might be lists, or it might be a long form article, it might be a guide. So for certain product-based companies, having a guide that is what we would class as evergreen is really, really useful to have on your website. Not only can you put it on your blog, you can put it on the email footer, you can also put it in your email signature as well, linked back to that guide. And it just helps people when they're coming to, you know, look for that information. If you've got that evergreen content it's valid now, it's valid, you know, 3, 4, 5 years in the future. Again, it's showing you as an industry leader, and you can update that content as well. What's a really useful thing to put is that if it's been updated, have a little date and say updated, and obviously put the date on there so that people can see that you're refreshing that content on a regular basis. Case studies, videos as well, they're awesome pieces of content to be publishing and putting it on your website, putting it on YouTube and sharing that on social media. So this is what we're doing on the website yourself, really. And again, so breaking it down a little bit more, so we've got some guest posts, so some articles that we're going to create for other people. We've got we've got on-page versions, and we've got off-page, we've got the press release, we've got some social media on there as well. So there's always a bit of a split. So as we said, you know, you've got to create that content, publish it, but you have to distribute. So this is essentially what you're seeing here is the distribution element of this. So we need to plan what content we're going to create. We then need to create that content. So, you know, that can take time in itself. We know that. But then we need to distribute. It's always planning, creating, and distribute. You have to distribute. If you create that content and you don't tell anyone about it, you know, it's just going to sit there. Yes, you may get some SEO benefit, but if you want to enhance that, if you really want to push that content and push your business and get, you know, the most out of it, you must distribute it. And when I say distribute, as I showed you before, that's through press releases, it's through social media, it's through other industry publications, so writing on other industry publications, you know, even passing a comment on either something that's trending, maybe there's a new piece of research out that you can pass comment on. So another tip, have a look on Twitter, or X as we call it now, have a look on there, and if you put hashtag PR request and hashtag journo request, there's journalists all the time that are looking for quotes and information on various different topics. So it's a great place to look. Also, increasingly, LinkedIn is a great place to connect with journalists. So if you look for journalists that are, you know, working on certain topics specific to your industry, you know, reach out to them. Whether you've got a new product launch, maybe you can share something with them, or you've even got a new piece of information and you don't necessarily know what to do with it, but you know, you want to share it to the you know, the wider world, you know, get in touch with them, connect with them on LinkedIn, and just start engaging with them as well. And there's also emails. You know, that's one thing you can do that's nice and easy. Once you've started building, you know, your client list, start sending newsletters out there. Also on LinkedIn, you can do LinkedIn newsletters, so you can send that to your connections on there. But be consistent. We've got to have that plan. So, you know, that plan that we set out, that's got the, you know, January, February, March, and break it down into weeks. Do something every single month. Do it on a monthly basis, but make sure that it's going to be manageable for you. There's got to be consistent. It's got to be manageable. If you do all of this, it's going to help increase your rankings. So we're creating that content on your website, we're publishing it, but we're sharing it. It's going to help increase your traffic as well. You know, you're going to be starting to increase the amount of content that's on your site. Google loves fresh content. So it's going to start increasing your rankings. It's going to start increasing your traffic as well. And essentially, it's going to increase leads. You know, that's essentially what we want. So, you know what? It actually can work. But as I said, you know, you need plenty of time because it has to be consistent, not sporadic. It can't be something that you think, right, I'm going to do, you know, just this month, I'm going to get everything done, and then I'm going to go quiet over the next month or two. It's got to be consistent. Even to be fair, if you have got some time to create, you know, a bulk load of content, still schedule it, you know, schedule it over time so it comes across as consistent. And your time is so valuable. You know your business better than anyone else. So make sure you're doing the really valuable stuff, the stuff that's going to bring that money in, that's going to keep the ball rolling, that's going to keep your business growing. So, you know, I know from even just, you know, being a writer myself, a blog, you know, just a standard article, it can take 2 hours. It can take 3 days. And if you're one of these people that dwells on things, it has to be perfect, it can take even longer. So yeah, I think that's something to definitely consider. Don't get too caught up in it. If there's somebody else that can help you as well, if writing isn't your forte, maybe it's video, then do that. So what is the answer with the time thing? As we said, you can outsource, but you can also repurpose content. So we've talked about, having content in different places, on your blog, on social media, doing a press release. So all of this content doesn't have to be different. It doesn't have to be, okay, well, I'm going to write about how to care for satin prom dresses, or a certain location for a hotel. And it has to be different for every single place that we're publishing this content. No, you create a blog about it. Then we're going to share snippets of that blog, maybe some quotes, maybe some images, all on social media. We might do a video as well that's based on that particular article, and it all links to one another. Okay, so we're going to repurpose that content. So yeah, those clusters that I mentioned, they're really, really useful, because you're researching a whole topic, and then to only create one article based on that particular topic is almost kind of wasteful. You've got all of this other information, so utilize it. And if you've got a long piece of content, a long article, break it down, part 1, part 2, part 3, and then share each of those on social media. So break it down, do videos based on each one of those parts as well. Do talks or videos based on the content you've created, as I said. And also another tip, if you're creating videos, transcribe them. There's various different tools out there that you can do that. You literally upload the video, it will transcribe it. You can check all of the, the spellings to make sure there's nothing odd or unusual there. But yeah, you can check all of that. You can add slides to social media. So LinkedIn is great for adding slides. You can do it as a PDF on there, and then it'll have the little slide button. And you can add it to SlideShare. So you may have noticed at the start, there was a link there that I included to SlideShare. So SlideShare, I think it's .co.uk or .com/Anna Morrish. Add all of my slides there. Again, it's just another way of repurposing that content. And plus, people can download it. Why wouldn't want to share it in other places? And as I said, take snippets of all of that types of content, all the different types of content you're creating, and share it on social media. You don't have to constantly reinvent the wheel. You've already created that content, so utilize it. It's going to save you time in the long run. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry, I feel like I've just gone blah, there's so much information there. But yeah, if you want to, I think the guys are going to send out the SlideShare link so you can download this later on. It's got all of different notes in there as well for you to follow. I can, and I'm happy to share that, the content calendar if anyone wants it. But yeah, open to any questions that you've got as well now.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Anna. That was really useful. We've got lots of questions coming through, so I'll run through them now. Firstly, how do you know how your audience talks about your service area? For example, people who talk about health and well-being have their own language around the area, such as lucky girl syndrome.
Yeah, so you need to be monitoring all of that as well. So obviously there's social listening. You can be targeting certain keywords. You can also, so something that we do, we have different Google alerts for certain terms and phrases as well. But it's getting to know your customers and start engaging with them. So again, on social media, it's a great place to find out more about your customers and have a look at what your competitors are doing. Some of your competitors might have a really good following. They might have different customers engaging with them. So you can start building up a bit of an idea of your customers. Before we usually get to the content marketing stage, we'll often do what we call persona research as well. And we create probably around 3 typical personas for each, of the clients or people that we're working with. And, we create a name, we've got, different types of language that they use, the tone of language, different places that they are on social media. I'm somebody that I am on LinkedIn quite a lot. I'm on Instagram a lot. But as somebody, if they want to target me on TikTok, I rarely go on TikTok. So you need to start thinking, okay, well, where are people, the different types of people that are potentially our customers, where are they? And then you can start thinking about the language and start building on it. When you do your personas, it's not a one-time thing. You've got to revisit over and over and over. And then you can start filtering some of the keywords and the terms of phrases that they're using into your content as well. It'll help resonate with them. So yeah, it's a good thing to be doing.
Perfect. Thank you. Next question from Jane. I am unsure what length to make a free guide. Is more detail better or worse? And is there an ideal amount of pages?
So when you say pages, I'm assuming you either mean a Word document or a PDF. If you're PDFing and put it on your website, I'd just put it on your website and put it as a whole one page. If you're considering, if it's you're writing something and it's a Word document and then you're going to put it on your website, I mean, yeah, there's no limit, to be fair. Yes, I would probably say consider, can it be condensed? It's, editing something, a piece of content is a fine art. So ask people, that to have a read through, see if there's anything that they can cut. Maybe you can create some lists, maybe some bullet points, and consider the formatting of the content. You can also include links to further information. So if you've got a guide and you're thinking, this is essentially a book, break it down into smaller chunks that you can then link on your website. So internal linking across your website is very, very valuable. So that would be something I would recommend considering as well. And happy to have a chat with you as well. If you've got something that you've written, I'll happily, have a quick look and provide you some recommendations.
Amazing, thank you. We are running out of time, so I'll do one more question, but there are lots in the Q&A function, so if anyone would like to ask Anna, feel free to connect with her on Enterprise Nation. There's a link in the chat, or I'm sure find her on LinkedIn, and she'll be very happy to answer your questions. So the next one we'll do is, how can you ensure your customers are worth more, increasing their lifetime value?
Yeah, so that's something that we work on with a lot of clients, and that is the value of a client and a lead. So improving that quality, so lead quality essentially. And a lot of that is going to be coming down to the language that you're going to be using in the targeting. So initially, if you haven't got a lot of content on your website, it's going to be a slow process to start improving it. But you can qualify people by, if they're going to engage with you in a certain way, make sure that you've got certain questions or check boxes maybe that you need to include little bits of snippets of information as well that might put off people that don't want to spend a lot of money. If it is a product-based company, so for example, we're working with a jewelry company, and they have got, really small items up to the hundreds and even thousands of pounds. And we want obviously the really expensive people to come on board. So creating guides is really useful for that, buying guides, but also adding, that extra added value. So you've got someone that's buying something that's a small value. Is there something that maybe you can add on additionally? So people also bought X, or people that saw this actually were interested in a high valued item, for example, and give them the reasoning behind that. So including really detailed information about each of the products is useful as well. But it's the information that you're giving people. If they can see that there's value in what it is that you do or your product, they're going to expect it to be more expensive. And if you're a company that you're still looking at setting your prices, start increasing them. Your new customers aren't going to realize that actually, they used to be really cheap and now all of a sudden they've gone stupidly expensive. So I think it's understanding what your worth is as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We've sadly run out of time, but that was all really useful, and I'm sure everyone really enjoyed that. So thank you, Anna. And thank you so much to all our attendees for joining us on today's Lunch and Learn. It has been lovely chatting with you all, and we will be sharing the recording and further resources in a follow-up email later this afternoon. And I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.